And now, in case some of you don't know Karin, she's a recently ordained minister with the Fellowship of the Inner Light. She's a good friend, teacher, and mentor to many people. She's a devoted mother and a devoted partner. And she's also an LPN that specializes in elder care, really enjoys helping the people she's helped and continues to help. And she also used to teach school, and she is also now working with the 8 years and older children in our youth program here at the Fellowship. Not today, because she's speaking up here, but she works with the children. And they're having a really good time with her. They came out so happy showing us their things that they had made. They have vision boards they made with her. So I know we're in for a real treat when she shares with us today from her heart and her soul. Let's welcome Karin.
I'd like to start with a prayer, so let's just sit with this prayer for a moment. As I wake up this morning, may your Spirit come upon me, dear God. May my mind receive your emanations, and my soul receive your blessing, and my heart receive your love. May all those that I meet or even think about today feel better for it. May I contribute peace. May I serve your purpose with all I say and all I do, today and always. Please show me how. Amen. So, life is truly a balance act, isn't it? And it doesn't get easier. It's challenging. And in college, I recall I had a real aha moment. This is blocking my view. Some people over here. I'd gone to the library to do some work, and, as usual, was just kind of trying to think of things to keep me from having to do the work. And it was a fall day like this, and I was looking out, and I noticed this beautiful tree across the street. This was at VCU in Richmond. And most of the trees had dropped, but there was this one branch that had this one leaf on the branch, one leaf. And all of a sudden, I realized that was very symbolic of my stage in life and what I was going through at that time, which was, having to let go of something that had been familiar to me and safe my whole life, and then moving into a new phase of adulthood and adulting. And whether I felt ready for it or not, it was here. And I realized at that moment, really, just like that leaf had to let go, or the tree had to let go of the leaf, it falls and fulfills its destiny to be part of Earth, Mother Earth, to create new life. I needed to do that too at this stage so that I could fulfill my destiny, whatever that might be, because at that time I didn't fully know. I knew I was going to be a teacher, but beyond that I didn't really know. Oops, let me get my eyes back on here. I needed to do it no matter how scary or how uncertain it was. And it's not unlike that proverbial saying about the baby bird having to leave the nest and try its own wings out for the first time. And I've already gotten some people to participate with me. So when they hear this bell, whoever has number 7, could you stand and read number 7, please? It's a quote. I hope somebody has number 7. John, was that you? Nobody had number 7? Oh, okay, well, that was a mess up. I don't know what it was now. Anybody? No? Okay, well, we didn't need to hear that one. In life, we continually find ourselves in a place where we do need to make a conscious decision to hang on or to let go. And sometimes it seems like life and powers outside of our own control make that decision for us. But we still ultimately get to choose how we're going to react to it, how we're going to respond to it, and how we're going to live with that change. Now, today, as we've talked about, is the first day of fall or autumn and the autumnal equinox, and it is a season where we do see change on full display. leaves change colors, and they have to let go of their deciduous branches that they were once part of. For students, and a lot of them are out there right now, but sometimes I guess we're all students, it means changing grades and classes, getting used to new teachers and making new friends with different friends. Hopefully you keep your old ones. If you're in a zone like ours, you have to start bringing warmer clothes out, getting adjusted to that. And we change our sleep habits because, it gets dark earlier, and just like animals start to, stuff themselves this time of year to prepare for the scarcity of winter. And we do that, well, I don't know, maybe we don't do that. Maybe at football games and tailgating, I don't know. But changes are inevitable. So we have to decide when it's time to make that change, when it's time to let go. Let's see if we have another one here. Somebody got number 10, I hope?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Surrender to what is, let go of what was, have faith in what will be. By Sonia McCarthy.
Thank you.
Karin, you need him to come up, or you'll have to repeat it. Otherwise, nobody will hear it on the recording.
Oh, okay. Do you want to come up?
Yeah.
Sure. There you go.
My first time on camera. All right. So it says, surrender to what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And by Sonia Medicati.
Oh, that makes me hungry. Okay, good. Thank you. So anyway, we have to decide when to hang on and when to let go. Sometimes we have to hang on to things like, if we're trying to finish or complete something, like a degree or a certification, or even in relationships or jobs, we have commitments. But occasionally, situations necessitate the time that we have to change for our own highest good. I have 2 this time. Number 8 and number 3. And you'll have to come up, as Jerry said, whether you want to or not.
Ryan Elliott said, "Forgive those who didn't know how to love you. They were teaching you how to love yourself."
I like that one. 3, Mary.
And Sam Elliott said, "Find someone who ruins your lipstick, darling, not your mascara."
You were the perfect one to read that, too. Yeah, Sam Elliott was, well, y'all know him, big mustache, white hair, good looking, married to Catherine Ross. He's great. But anyway, so pets and people don't stay with us forever. We have to say goodbye and let go of them when they die, or sometimes in the case of people, they move away. And there's Sammy. I know he's a sweetheart too. Everybody knows Sammy's name, but that's Deborah's dog. So if you don't know Deborah, that's Deborah. A good friend of mine. And then children, we have to let go of our kids, don't we? And that's a hard one. And you hear all these principles about, you should, law of detachment or unattachment. And you think, how can I be unattached to my children? But there are times of time when you have to let go and just give them to God. You just have to trust that they'll find their own way. And then sometimes beliefs or negative patterns are things that we have to let go of because they're actually, causing us suffering or holding us back in some way. His Holiness Dalai Lama says, "Suffering is inevitable. Accepting that truth allows us to prepare for it mentally when it comes and to deal with it before it is even necessary to respond to it. So you don't over-respond to it." And of course, guilt, shame, and regret cause increased suffering, partly because we think we made an irreparable mistake. However, if we remember that the only constant in life truly is change, we have to come to the realization that there's nothing that doesn't change. So life is change. The degree to which we accept that determines our level of suffering. Uh-oh. Number 9, please.
Sometimes what you are afraid of most doing is the very thing that will set you free.
Yeah, and some of these I don't know who said them. I have a book at home called Leaves of Gold or something, and it's beautifully embossed, and it has a lot of quotes about peace, suffering. I should have mentioned it. And by the way, this prayer was from Marianne Williamson. Susan mentioned her Illuminated Prayers, and this book is just full of beautiful prayers and gorgeous illustrations that look like it's from the Book of Kells or something. It's just really beautiful. So I need to note that, I guess. Now, Buddha also said that no one is free from loss and suffering. There's a story told about a woman named Kissa Gotami. Kissa Gotami lost her only child, and she desperately was running from person to person trying to find something that could bring her child back to life, obviously to no avail. So she finally went to Buddha, and she said, please, please, I beg of you, I beseech you to please make up some concoction or medicine that can bring my child back. And he said very thoughtfully to her, well, I will need certain things. I need you to go collect a handful of mustard seeds. No, mustard seeds are tiny. And you're shaking your head like you know this story maybe, Ravi. And he said, but they have to be special mustard seeds. They have to be from households where no one has lost a parent, a mother, a father, a child, a servant. And so she set out and went door to door and trying to ask everybody, can you have any mustard seeds? And they were like, oh, yeah. And she was like, oh, but wait, it has to be, this situation. And of course she returned and realized there was no one she could get mustard seeds from because everyone had experienced that loss. And she came to him with humility, but she had decided at that point that she had no choice but to let go of her beloved son. And Buddha said with great compassion to her, you thought you alone had lost a child, but the law of death is that among all creatures, there is no permanence. Oops. I should let somebody else do this. Okay, so 11. It's time for quote 11.
Getting over a painful experience is more like crossing the monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. C.S. Lewis.
Thank you. So life is change. Deepak Chopra, who was mentioned earlier, also said that attachment, he has a different kind of take on attachment. Attachment is a relationship based on need. It's more based on need coming from a place of ego. And detachment, he distinguishes from some other definitions of detachment that it's actually not caring, teaching yourself not to care. So he prefers the term unattachment, which actually allows a state of freedom that preserves and will increase the love for somebody else. I kind of like that too. Now, Buddhism also says that we should cultivate non-attachment because over-attachment results in fixed, narrow views, habits, and very overly strict rules and rituals. Number 1.
Julia Roberts said, when people walk away from you, let them go. Your destiny is not tied to anyone who leaves you. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that their part in your story is over.
Thank you. Pretty profound coming from Miss Julia. Now, there are signs that we all are familiar with probably. I'm up here telling y'all things you probably know, but hopefully there will be something in here today that might be like to you. I know as I was going through it, I kind of thought, oh, wow, that's really good. Of course, if you're sacrificing your joy and peace, that's something to start thinking about. If you're not getting your very important needs met, and of course, we don't get all of our needs met all the time. A lot of people say marriage is 50-50. Bull. Sometimes it's 70-30. Sometimes, it just depends. They're fluid, and we have to take that into account. When hanging on causes more unhappiness and stress than letting go, that's kind of a sign. You can kind of evaluate that, think about it. Of course, there's the great pro and con list you can do that might help clarify that. If you're staying in a job or with a person or something, mostly due to obligation and really not many other reasons, that's something else you need to think about. If you can't be your authentic self, and some of us, it takes us a while to figure out what our authentic self truly is, who we really are. That takes years sometimes. But, if you feel like you're not being able to be your authentic self, then that's another sign that maybe you need to think about it. And if you just are exhausted, if it's just, it's really exhausting holding on to things sometimes that no longer serve you. And you have all this fatigue from having to either compromise too much all the time or just expending too much energy to maintain peace. That's another sign that, well, maybe I need to think about this. So basically, and Swami Satchidananda said this, he was the guru who spoke at Woodstock. And many people say that if he hadn't said the words he said, stressing peace and harmony, that situation could have devolved to something much worse because people were wet and cold and muddy and hungry. So he had great words for that start of that thing. But he said also, if it doesn't bring you love, peace, and positive energy, you should just stop engaging in it. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Now, I would like for at this time Marnette to come up and help me with something. I'm going to tell a story that I read, and I'll just kind of nudge you when you need to do your thing, okay? This is a good example, I think, of letting go and hanging on. A man went to the psychiatrist, and he was come on over on this side of me if you don't mind, sweetie. Thank you. I like to be seen by everybody, and then I'll let you be seen. Anyway, the man was very well dressed. He was very mild-mannered, soft-spoken, very intelligent-sounding, articulate. And he comes and he sits down, and the psychiatrist says, "Well, tell me what's going on, what's bothering you." And this man starts speaking in a very, very angry, loud voice. The blood's going to his face. He's getting red. He's getting animated, and he starts to say, "Well, my wife of 10 years cheated on me, and after all I had done for that ungrateful, she bled me dry. I will never forgive her." Thank you, sweetheart. And he goes, "Well, I see, that's very difficult. That is very hard to get over that." He said, "And how long ago was that divorce?" And the man said, 17 years. Okay, now clearly we can all sit here and go, I think he needs to let go of that by now. But sometimes it does take a long time. But this was no longer serving him to hold on to that kind of anger. It's exhausting, right? So how do we discern whether it's time to hang on or let go? Again, Buddhism says to contemplate something that is a major attachment for you and then examine your thoughts and feelings about that attachment. See if you have any fear, anxiety, things like that when you contemplate the loss of it. And then it says to visualize yourself in relation to that desire and gradually increase space between you and that thing you're attached to. And then keep increasing it and keep increasing it. And over time, the more you kind of sit with that space, you may come to realize, well, I don't really feel so anxious about that. Maybe I could detach from that a little bit more. And they say, Buddhism also says that you should practice this again and again over the next few weeks. You might not completely lose your attachment to this thing, person, situation, but you will probably gain a more relaxed attitude about having that space between you and the attachment, which will then eventually, hopefully, allow you to let go with much less suffering. Also, check in daily with your feelings. A lot of people keep so distracted today with their phone, their music, their TV, all these things, and they don't allow themselves just to sit with themselves and think about, what am I feeling? What do I feel about this? So check in daily with your feelings about hanging on or letting go. Allow yourself to feel the loss of this thing and see what that really feels like. You can also ask, by keeping whatever it is in my life, will I lose my peace? Always think in terms of your peace. If feelings of anxiety, unhappiness arise, analyze the cause And you'll find that it's usually due to over-attachment. We said earlier the pro and con list. Be honest. This is important. Be honest and take responsibility and accountability for your own part that's contributing to the situation. And Swami Satchidananda once again said that your conscience is the part of the divine within. Ask advice from your pure divine self. You have to develop the ability to discriminate within yourself ultimately, and that's why prayer and meditation is so very important. It will help you clarify and hear that inner voice, because your inner voice is your higher self, which is God. So it's important to remember nothing is ever a waste of time, because everything happens for our experience and our learning and our growth, and it has meaning in your life. I have 2 quotes, number 2 and number 5. Anybody got 2 and 5? Well, we lost a few quotes. I know, John, I gave you a quote.
I lost it.
I said to him, I said, now don't lose it. I said, don't lose it, John. I bet it's in your pocket. I bet it's in your pocket, but that's okay. It's okay, John.
When looking back doesn't interest you anymore, you're doing something right. Yeah.
Forgiveness is the fragrance flowers shed upon the heel that crushed it.
Yeah. So I'd like to close with another prayer from Marianne Williamson's book. So let's just close our eyes and breathe a little bit. And dear God, please, please help me to detach from things that hold me back. Remove from me illusions and falsehood. Restore to me a lightness of my being. Amen. So thank you all for being a great participatory audience. And I hope it helped in some way, and bless you all this week.